spending lots of time searching outside of yourself to find happiness, joy, health, and wealth? With each new acquired good or goal reached, are you once again jumping on the gerbil wheel, searching for that next thing to make you happy? The answers we are searching for are actually inside of us, and the connection we are looking for is one with self. Explore these and other self-reflective questions here on Finding the Spark Within. Hosted by Christin Collins, discover how you can connect with your purpose and achieve true happiness, meaning, and well-being. Don't miss tuning in and find the spark within.
Hi, Christin Collins with Find the Spark Within podcast, where we hold space for each of us individually to contemplate and get in touch with that inner spark and inner knowing that already exists and helps us and guides us to live that life of optimal well-being, happiness, abundance, joy, and vibrancy. And as always, when I'm blessed to be able to hold space with a colleague and a friend, I ask someone to join me who has sparked curiosity and wonder and awakening within me. And today is no exception. So I would love to introduce you to my friend, my colleague, and my future co-presenter on a Tedx stage, Dr. Sheron Brown. Sheron, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so glad and honored that you asked me to share this space with you. And I am looking forward to us having fun in these next 30 minutes while we inspire and spark.
I have chills, girl. Just even your voice just gives me chills. It's so wonderful to connect with you. And often, we spend some time going through who is Dr. Brown and why is Dr. Brown and all that kind of good stuff. I will add to this space that your current job, which far from defines you, is a phenomenal job and something that I'm very attracted to. And you are currently the executive director of the Tampa Bay Health Collaborative. So I wanted to have that enter the space and do hope that you'll share a little bit about that with us. But before we do, I just also want to bring into this space that you are a well-being guru. You are a purpose practitioner, a spiritual gangster along with me. And you're also a human that so far, in my experience, says yes. You say yes. And there was a big chapter. I know you read my book, Her Phoenix Rising. There was a big chapter in my life of my spark to say yes to the universe, even when it doesn't make sense to me. And definitely when the outcome is scary. And how you and I connected before sharing a TED stage together was I was coming to the Tampa area and I reached out to the co-presenters and I said, does anyone want to connect? And you said yes. And you said a lot of other things, including today. So talk to me a little bit about your courage and your why behind your openness to say yes.
Well, it's funny. I have a story behind my saying yes. When I moved to St. Petersburg, Florida, back in 2017, and I like to say I crossed the line on July 1st, 2017, so I'm able to mark the day that I came here. It was after living in Maryland for almost 20 years, and I knew that life was over in Maryland. It was time to go somewhere new. And so through a series of events, I found myself with everything that I could fit in my car on the highway, moving down to St. Petersburg, sight unseen. And when I moved out here, within 2 weeks, there's a group of, I'll say spiritually aware folks that I came in contact with. And we were actually at a workshop or a conference where we were being trained. We were going through training, if you will, for becoming certified as spiritual coaches. And there was one lady in particular, I'm not going to say her name, but I can see her. The weekend was over. Her husband came to pick her up because it was at a hotel. She was in her car on the passenger seat side, and her husband was getting ready to drive off. And she said, "Sheron, welcome to St. Pete." And remember, say yes to everything. And I've held on to that. And that saying yes has opened so many doors. I never was conscious of whether or not I was saying yes. A lot of times it's like, I don't know, do I feel like it? I'll go. If I don't, I'm going to stay home. But I am very aware now, so much so that I've gotten to a place since then in 2017 where it's like, wait, I got to amend this yes thing because I could wear myself out. So now it's more, how will this serve me? How will this serve the people that I'm coming in contact with? And do I feel that this is in flow with my path? So I still say yes, but now I have to measure it or I'll be all over the place and wear myself out.
Amazing. Right out of the gate, amazing, spark right there. So it's, it isn't about saying yes to everything. Right. So the first is just being open to saying yes to things that you might be scared of or you're fearful of. Then the next evolution of finding your spark within is identifying, I actually know my purpose. I know what's in alignment with me and what is not. And it can be the exploration and saying no, right? But you had the courage to say yes to the contemplation of a yes. And that's just like, to me, next level. So you go, girl. I love that. So much so of the couple times that you've said yes to things that I'm like, hey, how about this or how about that? I'm watching the pops for you. And you only have time to say yes to the things that I was like, hey, do you want to do this or check this out? Because you had been contemplative. So thank you for bringing that in. So let's start with, besides that, let's start with you're saying yes to coming to St. Pete, Florida, sight unseen, to leave the education space, right? And to enter the Tampa Bay Health Collaborative. Talk to us about what you knew about it at the time, what drew you to say yes, and what work are you doing with that organization?
When I say I left Maryland with everything I could fit in my car, you think I came for the Tampa Bay Healthcare Collaborative. I had no idea what I was coming for.
No way. You just packed up your car and was...
No job, nothing. Just...
I love that.
Just got in the car. A friend of mine, she knew that I was ready for a change. And a friend of mine from college said to me, there's even some synchronicities with how this happened. But in a conversation, she ended up saying to me, do you want to come and live with me? And I said, sure. I didn't even really know where she lived. I just knew it was Florida. And I said, sure, when can I come? And she said, next month I close on my house. So you can come when I close. So she closed like June 18th or something like that. And like I said, I was here July 1st. So when I was still in Maryland, I knew that I was complete with education. Well, complete with K-12, never education, K-12. And at the same time, I was going through certifications. I had just completed my certification as a health coach. I was completing my yoga instructor. You don't really get certified as a yoga instructor, but I was completing that training. And I was seeking meditation training, which I've since gone through. And so I knew I wanted to move into health because technically I was already in health while I was in education, because as a coach to teachers and principals and coaches, I found myself coaching them on their well-being because we're not, departmentalized individuals. We are whole beings. And so there's no way for me to help you improve your performance unless I'm looking at your whole self. And so I realized that's what I get more excited about. Let me find out more about that. And that's what led to the other trainings that I got into. So when I moved to St. Pete, I said, well, let me kick off this new career. I have no idea what this looks like, but let's just go. And I didn't realize what I was doing. People tell me now I say it like I know, but people had to let me know, oh, you're reinventing yourself. And I said, oh, okay, yeah, that's what it is. So when I moved out here, I did volunteer work. I joined organizations like Leadership St. Pete. I found my local chapter of my sorority, which is Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And just through the connections, through the volunteering, I was giving opportunities. One of those opportunities was I had the chance to produce on behalf of my sorority Health and Wellness Expo, and I did it in partnership with the University of South Florida. And that was such an amazing experience. I got to throw my whole self into it because, like I said, I wasn't working. And so I got to throw my whole self into it, met a lot of great people to pull it off. And in the experience, I said, I enjoy doing this. I am bringing wellness to people in a large scale event. And I want to do even more of this, even bigger. And so that's when I said, okay, I want to find an opportunity that will allow me to bring people together to solve problems in health. That's all I said. I was sitting at a lake and I said that. And I walked home from the lake and I just felt, go look on Indeed. And I went to Indeed and this was the first role I saw. And I was like, there it is. That's the job. So that's how I got to the Tampa Bay Healthcare Collaborative. And so now we've transitioned a little bit since I started on who we are.
I'm sure. Oh, I'm sure. They probably had no idea when they put their seatbelts on the ride they were about to go on with you.
Yeah, I don't think they do, but they're enjoying it. We're enjoying the ride together. So essentially, the Tampa Bay Healthcare Collaborative connects the health equity ecosystem to encourage collaboration, reduce silos, minimize redundancies among nonprofits. And we do it through in-person and tech-enabled solutions, all toward advancing community well-being, because you can't have community well-being without having health equity. So that's the Tampa Bay Healthcare Collaborative.
So there's so many like things I love about our connectivity. And one was, as I was 2 hours south of you, trying to do the darndest same thing down here in Southwest Florida, your organization under your leadership crossed me. Someone sent it to me and was like, this reminds me of what you're trying to do. And I had note to self, like, how do I collaborate? Like, who are, like, I need to connect with them. I was in the process of closing my chapter in healthcare, just like you closed yours in education up in Maryland. So it just didn't happen. And then lo and behold, when, you and I connect through Tedx, and I'm like, this is the organization that I felt the vibration of up there, and I knew, and it was the foundation of connectivity, collaboration, and root cause. Right. And so those are all the things that I was so very passionate about, as are you. And that's just the sisterhood that you and I share. So I would love, now that folks understand your work with that organization, I can kind of macro that to your vision for well-being. And you have a couple different offerings that I've digested that showcase them, that people can access. I want to start with your first book that you wrote, which is the tie. Oh, I think it might even be behind you. The tie between wellness and purpose. And back a million years ago, when I was at the hospital and created our wellness vision, or the wellness wheel, I had 6 spokes on the wellness wheel, and the 6th was purpose. And that was a divine download that I didn't understand. When I read your book, I actually bought copies and sent it to former colleagues, because I'm like, this is what I was trying to say.
Okay.
You say it so beautiful. So I would like to start, and I can read it, but I want to hear it, if you're cool with it, from your lips. Your definition of wellness. What is wellness to you?
Wellness to me is when you are at a place where you're allowing yourself to experience your optimalness, your optimal health, your optimal wealth in all areas of your life. Does that mean that all areas of your life will be perfect 100% of the time? Absolutely not. But it means you're allowing yourself to continue to unfold and unfurl, so that you can experience what I've learned to call a beautiful state, and to live in a beautiful state as opposed to a suffering state.
Amen. And I have a lot I want to say back, but I'm not. I'm going to then ask a follow-up to you. So succinctly and beautifully defined, as I read your book, on what role does purpose play as it interfaces with wellness?
Okay, let me try to be as concise because I can go on that one. So I defined our 3 life purposes. And the one that we're used to hearing a lot about is related to our vocation. What are you going to be when you grow up? Right. And so I'll stick with that one for now. That one has caused so many people to be sick because they didn't allow themselves to align with that divine spark that is within them, to be able to be guided and to flow into what is the uniqueness that's in them that they came to share in the world. So they ended up doing other things. I don't know if you know this. My undergrad is in accounting because of that whole, what are you going to major in? I don't know. I'll pick accounting. I did that for 3 weeks. And I remember it was a Friday afternoon on week 3. I walked out of the building and said, I am never going back to that place because that didn't align with me. I didn't know what did, but it wasn't that. And I did the college thing. So my mother was happy. She couldn't say I didn't go to college, but I spent the next couple of years like making jewelry and doing all kinds of things while I tried to really feel what felt right for me. So when it comes to your vocational purpose, if you don't allow yourself to align with what's in you and allow yourself to move past the block of, well, how would I make money doing that? Right? Because there's so many things that people think that about, then you'll find yourself in roles where you're living for Friday, where you're stressed, where you're unhappy, and eventually that starts to eat away at your physical well-being. Right? Because then it starts to turn into diseases, migraines, heart attacks, ulcers. I mean, we can keep going on down the list. So I feel that when you connect to that purpose and you're working from a place of joy, because Prophet Khalil Gibran says, work is love made visible. When you are working from that place, then you're experiencing a joy in your work. Even though you may experience challenges, you're still experiencing a joy in your work that is not then going to impact your physical and emotional well-being in the same way as if when you're working in misalignment with who you are or who you came to be.
When I absorbed that in reading from your book, it articulated exactly what I've been feeling and trying to share as well. And there are, by the way, my first semester or 2 in college, I was an actuarial major, which is might as well be an accountant. I didn't even last a semester. Good for you for getting a degree in one. For the same reasons I entered that. Well, there's a job that's needed or whatever. And there's people whose purpose aligns with being an accountant or an actuary, right? Just you and I didn't. And so when you're out of alignment, right, and you're not living that joyful place from wholeness, then you do get sick. And that's exactly why purpose was on the wellness wheel. And there are people that can do those jobs that it aligns with who they are. The second reaction I have when I was getting the dots connected from your information was wellness is not just the absence of disease.
No.
That was the thing that drove me, and still to this day, I get uncomfortable with the words health or wellness, because to me, I'm in a little bit of a rut with, well, that just means that, your blood pressure is under control.
Oh, no.
Right. Or that you're medicated so that your diabetes is what? And you talk a lot about prevention, whether it's because you're in alignment with your purpose or how you're fueling your body or how you're managing your stress, all those good things. So I celebrate you for identifying that wellness is not just the absence of disease or managing your disease. It's actually preventing you from entering and living this amazing life of optimal well-being because you're in alignment.
Yes, definitely about being proactive. I mean, once the disease is there, do what you need to do about it, right? And I even provide recommendations in the back of the book. But while you are in a good place, or you're only on one pill as opposed to 10, do something about the one, and then be proactive about preventing the other 9.
Absolutely love that. On your offerings that you the ways that you support people on their either journey back to wellness or their journey on wellness. You have so many great things that you offer, but one, when I was on your website signing up and getting so that I can absorb your information in real time, there was a beautiful complimentary offering that I downloaded, and your handbook on wellness and supporting people's journey. Can you just give an overview in case anyone's like, you know what, I do need a tool, whether it's for self or someone I love or someone that I know, to help them on their journey, and I think your toolkit does just that.
So I do have multiple offerings. So as you're talking, my brain is working quickly to remember which one is she talking about. Which one is she talking about? So, and the other thing that's in the back of my mind is another one I'm getting ready to come out with. So,
well, take us there, because then you'll be educating me on what I'm doing.
Okay. So I'll tell you the one that I'm working on, getting out this week. Still working, tweaking the name, but it's basically a 7-week blueprint to optimal well-being. So it builds on the framework of our 7 chakras and what each chakra controls, right? And then what you can do every day, just one thing you can do every day for 7 days for 7 weeks to strengthen your area according to your securities, right? Your root chakra, your will or your power that is within your solar. So that's what's getting ready to come out. That's one. But whatever I come out with, even though I may not know which one you're talking about, they're always going to be about how. So if you look at my logo, it says Dr. Sheron Brown, Inspiring Bliss. I think it's behind me here somewhere. Inspiring Bliss. My offerings are always going to be about wanting to inspire you to improve your physical, emotional, or spiritual well-being. So regardless of what I put out, ultimately, that's what it's going to do. And so that's why health coaching appeals to me. And that's why, cooking demonstrations appeal to me. Like, it all matters. We're not these disconnected puzzle pieces. We're one whole being, as I said earlier. So it's always going to be about that.
Oh, so beautiful. And which then just sparked in me the concept, again, root cause, like you're talking about. And then they're all interconnected. They're all interconnected, whether that's within oneself or that's within one family unit or one community or as a globe. And that's something else that you and I share, is this passion for root cause interconnectivity and the betterment and the support of the well-being of all.
Yes. And if I may, you didn't ask a question, but can I share a story?
Of course.
Okay. So I attended your summit recently, because you saw me there. And you told your story about when you were out of alignment, breaking out into hives, and you didn't understand what was going on. I wanted to jump out of my seat and say, me too. But I said, no, Sheron, this is her summit. You be quiet. You just sit here. But what happened was I left the education space. This is before 2017. I left because I tried to leave several times. But then when you're afraid, you go back to what you know, right? And the last time I went back, I suffered with severe acne for about 2 years. I could not understand. It was all over my face. I don't even have pictures of myself during that time. It was so bad. I'm like, I don't want to document this. And so I tried, everything you see on TV, I tried it. Then I never connected the two, after the fact I did. But the day came when I decided I am leaving K-12. This is not where I'm supposed to be. Being a teacher is in me, but not a teacher like this, not a teacher of this content. So I need to go off. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I need to leave and just allow myself to flow into the next thing.
So again,
when I tell you, I couldn't believe it. Literally the next day when I woke up, I'm still in shock when I tell the story. They were gone. And I said, wait a minute, was my body trying to tell me all this time? Because when I dated it back, it's like, well, when did I start having the acne issue? When I returned to K-12. That was so amazing. So talk about root cause. Yeah, your body will let you know what's going on. Pay attention. If there is something, that's another thing. If there is something going on with your wellness and you're not well, you're ill in any way, your body is trying to tell you something. Pay attention.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why the summit was called Find It Within Yourself. And no one knows better than self the answers, and body and experiences and feelings are guiding us, yet we medicate them, right? Or we dissociate from them, or we distract from them, or we consume them and stuff them, whatever it is. And if we could just be present, right, be right, and then experience with curiosity and not be so fearful, then we can be guided to our own inner knowing, because we already have the answers and the spark within. Really so, and here's great news, guys, is that the feedback from the summit was so breathtaking that the date has already been set for next year. And I've already asked some doctor from St. Pete if she would present at it. So I'll be getting you information on that in the very near future, but that was just a spoiler alert. So take us through your second offering, which you are birthing probably right around the time this podcast airs. And that is your second book on conscious collaboration. As I read that, as you know, I was sitting at a restaurant waiting for some friends to arrive, and I'm highlighting the heck out of it. And I take a picture of it and I send it to you. I'm like, you're killing me, girl. You've concisely and beautifully just taken all of my, crazy and put it in a way that is so digestible. Conscious collaboration. What does that mean?
So it's funny because I have to say this before I answer your question. You were digesting it as you waited for dinner. The book came to me while I was waiting for some folks to meet me for dinner. It was a thank you dinner. I was showing appreciation, and I was about to write notes to myself to remember, thank them for this and thank them for that. I took the pen out. I didn't even write thank. And then I just downloaded, write a book on collaboration. And right there, while I waited for them, I wrote the outline for the book. And then the next week I got to work. Conscious collaboration. I wrote that book because in the reimagining of what the Tampa Bay Healthcare Collaborative, TBHC, in the reimagining of what TBHC could be, one of the things that I saw was we have the opportunity. We say that we foster collaboration, but how do we do it? Like, let's actually do it. And so in doing the work of fostering collaborations, we started to see what worked, what kind of work, what didn't work. Why was it that initiatives that started out great to serve the community, they would eventually fizzle out? And having spoken to leaders that worked at foundations who tried to fund in collaborative initiatives, and then later on defunding them, finding out what the reasons were, and then actually doing a bit of research, or a lot of research, doing a lot of reading, and seeing that what I was seeing and taking down in my own personal notes is what the literature was saying. And so the main reason, I have something that I haven't put out yet that talks about the top 3 reasons why collaborations don't work. And it's because of communication, competition, and burnout. And what's happening is, while we show up every day as change makers, leaders of change, nonprofit leaders, while we show up every day with beautiful intentions to do beautiful work in the world, to help those who need the help, we get in our own way because of those 3 things that I just shared with you: competition, communication, and burnout. And so what conscious collaboration is basic. It's actually the conscious collaboration pathway. It's an 8-step guide. So what that is, it's a process for establishing collaborative relationships that also is bringing consciousness or awareness to the process. So we don't just show up with our fancy titles doing this great work, but we show up as human beings to work with and serve each other as we figure out how to serve those that our organizations exist for.
Mic drop, right? And so whether it's of self or it's of community, and how we started the summit the other day together was, hi, my name is, right? And normally when we enter a room, we come in with our baggage of, this is who I am, this is who I work for, this is my title, this is my experience, these are the acronyms after my name. And I'm giggling because I knew many of the summit attendees and just how dynamic and amazing. But I loved how we just stripped down to, hi, I'm Christin, right? And then we're able to connect with self, just going back to, I'm currently labeled this thing called Christin in this body, but that was as down as we got. Right. When you step into community, and this is when I took a picture and sent it to you, because it just blew my mind. Collaboration, conscious collaboration, when it's for the betterment of all, irrespective of how it affects you. Yeah. I know, I do believe more than not, that's what I do as an individual. I try, where I enter a space and I try to be a part of that space, irrespective of what I get out of the space, even if it could take away from what I think I have or whatever.
You do. I think that's what you do.
Thank you. Thank you. That is that is consciously what I feel I do. And again, I'm totally not perfect. To take a community, right? That's got budgets and job titles and ROI, and then to convince your board, listen, we're going to collaborate, and we may lose funding because of it. Is a scary process. And as you know, there's also, I'm headquartered in where our summit is in collaboratory.
Yes, I love them. I
love them.
Why
the first thing I said to you after having dinner was, come on down and check this out, because you are so in alignment. Yeah. And you're blessing collaboratory with your wisdom as well. So thank you for that. But I want to get back to this concept of conscious collaboration, where self is secondary to the collective, and the vitality and vibrancy, and ultimate win, because we're all interconnected.
Yes, yes, yes. So the first step has to do with all parties agreeing that everyone will walk away whole, because all parties will agree on the win-win for each of us. How do you not win when you start like that and then commit to that throughout the process, right? The thing that I didn't realize was with me so much until recently, I made a declaration. I thought I made a declaration. From now on, I'm really emphasizing love. And then I went back into my journal and I'm like, well, I said that last year. So I've already been doing that. But unlimited love, you talk about self being secondary. And I don't know if it's so much self being secondary, but it is definitely an emphasis on unlimited love, in that the well-being for someone else is just as important as your own well-being. And that's what I want us to bring into the space.
Wow. Yes. Yes. And as an individual, again, I'm pretty comfortable with that. And yet when I put on my consulting hat or organization, never mind corporate organization hat, that's a really scary space. So thank you for bringing that in, because you're 100%
Can I just say something about it being scary? So I understand what that means when I hear it, right? But then my question is to change makers who are also decision makers. If you really want to improve the life of whatever the population is that you serve, people who experience homelessness, veterans, whatever the population, single mothers, if you can just really allow yourself to think through, because I even get into systems thinking in the book, think through 10 steps down the road, how does this decision really help? It might help short term, but it might harm longer term. And so if you think in terms of, or if you think from the place of your humanity and think 10 steps down the road, my thought is it shouldn't be scary. It should be the thing that you want to do because your mission statement says it. I won't preach, but that's
no, girl, please. That's why I asked you to be on here. And that's why I preluded it with you. You help, challenge me. So as I digested that and devoured that deliciousness, what sparked in me was when I used the word scary, I was thinking not really of self, but of others who I know who are courageous and who are forward thinking. And then they get bit in the butt by their org. And you talk about that in your book, but you maybe not everybody's in alignment in the organization or that's on the board of the organization. And yeah, so then maybe you get let go. And that is not scary because that just means you're out of alignment because you
Right.
yes. And
Yeah.
literally, Sheron, since I've seen you at the summit, I've had that conversation daily, if not multiple times a day, about if you're going to let fear guide you on how you do it, because maybe you'll get let go, you're in the wrong place anyway. And I look back at myself and other friends who have been let go by organizations that we were misaligned with, and it was the greatest gift ever.
And can I just also add to that? If it's scary, and you think you can get let go because of it, there's a possibility you may not be let go. And then you'll be a disruptor, bringing about the good change that needs to happen for whatever population it is you're serving or for whatever your mission is. So just want to add that piece to there. You may get let go. And if you do, then is it the right place for you anyway? And if you don't get let go, then good, you get to flow in who you are.
I love it. Which then this just happened. That just brought back to full circle to where when you're present, when you're in the moment, when you be, right. And you know who you are, you know your purpose, you're in alignment with your purpose. And then you actualize in your world that purpose, you are guided, right, to be where it is you're supposed to be to do that work.
That's right.
And so that just happened for me where another gift you give any room you're in is that closure of that loop. So in closing of this beautiful loop, and I can't wait for us to be together next month, which by the time this airs, it'll be very close. But I want to land this plane with you on when you're searching for that spark within, when you're searching for the optimal well-being, when you're searching for your purpose. And yes, please go on SheronBrown.com, and there's all kinds of tools. Your new book's coming out February.
Actually, January 18th, but the launch party is February 14th for the Love of Health Equity.
Fantastic. So the book is now available, but the launch party, which is in my calendar for 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Valentine's Day. That's why I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
But in closure, summarize for me what downloads for you when someone is searching to find that spark within. What is something that you are inspired to share?
Wow. I would ask the person, whoever is listening and who would be willing to engage. First of all, what is it that you believe? What is your belief system? If there is none, that's another conversation that we would have to have another podcast for. But if there is, and you say you believe the divine is within you, you believe that abundance surrounds you, then I would ask you, do your thoughts and actions align with what you believe, because if you're making decisions from a place of fear, which is not love, if you're making your decisions from a place of scarcity, then they're not in alignment. So you have the head knowledge about what you believe, but you don't have the heart knowledge. I would ask you to begin to do your work so that what's in your head can be in your heart, and what you believe is what you live.
And with that, as we reflect on opening up our hearts, being in tune with our hearts, and leading from our hearts instead of our heads,
Yeah.
I can't thank you enough for taking the time to connect today. And you shine so bright. You shine like a beacon. You are an incredible spirit. I am humbled and honored to walk this chapter with you. And I just want to express immense gratitude for your authentic offerings.
Thank you. I appreciate you very much, Christin. Thank you so much for having me.
So folks, this will wrap up our edition of Find the Spark Within with Dr. Brown. And please go ahead and access her website. Check her out on social media. I follow her and she's amazing at it. Mm-hmm. And also too, you can check us out on the West Shore Tedx. Yes. The date for that is February 18th, which is a Friday in West Shore, the Tampa area. And come on down and join us. It's going to be an amazing day with amazing presenters. And I'm very excited to hear what Dr. Brown shares with us.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited to hear what you're going to say. I have a feeling they're going to be very much connected.
Because we are very much connected.
Yes, yes, yes.
All right. Until next time, be love. Bye. Thank you.
You have just listened to another episode of Finding the Spark Within with Christin Collins. If you found our content valuable, visit us at kristincollins.com/podcast, where you can find more episodes and amazing content. Connect with your purpose and discover ultimate joy. Join us again next time here on Finding the Spark Within.